All right.
All right, here we go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another lovely Monday evening. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock p.m. if you're on the Eastern Standard Time sort of things. And of course that means it's once again time for Optimus Tom's Battle Arena. And if you guys are any good at looking at screens whatsoever, which you should be if you are watching this, then you guys will know that right away I am not alone today. I'm actually casting with a very special guest. Why don't you just introduce yourself, Mr. Special Guest?
I am special. My name is Badministrator. I make horrible songs on YouTube, and I am better than Optimus Tom at League of Legends.
Well, that's not far from the truth at all. You're actually a lot better than me if I check my friends list last. But that is true. You do make decent songs on YouTube. I wouldn't call them bad. I wouldn't also call them ponophobia fanboyism level, though. We actually have ponophobia in the game, and he was just flipping out in the pregame lobby. He was just like, "Oh my God, it's Badministrator! Oh my God!" Da, 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 da. Like he put on his little like teen fangirl voice and everything. So it was a lot of fun. But yes, indeed, Badministrator is going to be casting with me. Have you ever cast before?
I have not ever casted before. I intend to be completely terrible at it. I'm going to do it the best I can. But yeah, I've never even actually been in spectator mode before, so it's going to be good.
So it's going to be a learning experience.
Well, I'm a natural, so I know this already, even though I haven't done it, because I'm also a psychic.
Ooh, you're also a psychic. Well, that is a very useful skill to have when you're being a caster. But we have some picks and bans going down already, so I'm going to move on over to the lobby quickly. I'm also going to be able to see that, hey, look, I have little thingies on my screen that actually shouldn't be there. Like, that shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be. I'm very, very professional when I do these things, ladies and gentlemen. Call things thingies and have weird thingies up on my screen. I'm not supposed to. We could just do a quick little rundown of who we have in Battle Arena today. On the blue team, we have DC Wasabi, Rupert 6, Ponophobia, Reckern, and Ranhurt. Now, a lot of those names you've probably noticed from some sort of podcasting that isn't really too popular over on the GG Chronicle website. We also know DC Wasabi from past Battle Arenas, and of course his friend Rupert 6, who you guys probably haven't ever heard of before. And on the purple team, we have Ezo Office Romeo, also known as Raphael Raven, the Blitzcrank that nobody wants to mess with. Neithlerin is a friend of his. Holy Spork, who of course, along with his wife Nugs the Pirate, has just had an awesome baby named Henry Jarvin. So send your congratulations, Spork and Nugs the Pirate's way for the little baby, bouncing baby boy Jarvin, which is just awesome, isn't that?
It's amazing. Jarvin. It's good stuff.
I'm glad you approved. Then we also have
You surprised me there. You stopped talking. I was like, man, he just went for like 4 straight minutes of talking, and then you asked me a question.
Oh yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. I'm really good at asking questions and abruptly stopping. We have Novsky, and then of course rounding out the purple team, we have Soter from the lovely GG Chronicle community. Of course, everybody knows Soter. He likes streaming ranked matches throughout the day and losing every single one of them. That's about it.
That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to live. It makes a living.
It's easier than winning, in my experience.
It is a lot easier than winning. But both of these teams, believe it or not, are going to be trying to get that W instead of the L in Battle Arena. We can see right now that the blue team has chosen to ban out Ramos, Shaco, and Shen. If you guys queue up for solo queue and you're not too afraid to do so, you'll probably normally see any of those champions being banned at any given time in a game. Meanwhile, on the purple side, we have Morgana, Lee Sin, and Kale, which I find very interesting because normally you would mark that as a troll kind of ban, but as we saw at IPL4 over the weekend, Curse Cop actually went to pick range carry Kale, and although I didn't get a chance to see the game, I know it didn't work out for them, but either way, I was still very, very interested to see this.
I do know at least one person who plays pretty much only Kale, so Kale is viable in every position on the team. So, but I think that Kale was probably banned just because, Morgana and Kale are sisters and they didn't want any jealousy issues. So,
see if one sister gets taken over, the other one catfights start erupting, and then the team
exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you can imagine. You've met sisters before, right?
Definitely have. Good times, bad times.
Mostly bad. Yep.
Mostly bad. But,
look at these teams. These are good teams. You got Ari. Ari's pretty strong. I'm a little afraid of Sotir unbalancing the teams, honestly. We got some elo differential, but like you said before, anything can happen. Shyvana, heal Shyvana.
Heal
I
Shivani.
feel like there's going to be some trading going on here.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of trades going on, but since the blue team has locked in already, we see that as the range carry and support in that lane, we're going to be having a range carry Graze and a support Janna in the bottom lane. Now that's really, really cool because Graze is going to have the dash ability to not only increase his attack speed, but of course put him in better positions for that buckshot. The Q damage going to be dealing super amounts of damage if he gets all 3 shots off on somebody. And having a Janna to shield him for not only absorbing damage, but dealing extra damage, a tornado to disposition people and just, give them CC and then slow them down, that's going to let Graze land almost every single buckshot if it's not Ponophobia, because he's not good at this game.
Fair, yeah, well, that's true. The best thing about Graves versus, you can see Nunu was picked before Graves. Graves isn't as affected by Nunu as a mostly auto-attacking AD. He's got some burst on his abilities, so the debuff that Nunu applies comes after the burst, and it doesn't do as much as, say, if you were like Ashe or something, where you don't have as much burst. You don't have the... So... the other thing is though is that they have a bursty comp on the left, but Kog'Maw late game. I mean, everybody who watched the tournament understands what Kog'Maw does. So if the game goes long, fear the Kog'Maw is basically the issue there.
Definitely going to have to fear the Kog'Maw. And even though Graves and Janna have a lot of crowd control in the bottom lane and a lot of harass with those pokes that both champions have, Nunu and Kog'Maw is a composition that still has to be a force to be reckoned with any stage of the game, because Kog'Maw is one of those champions who has a lot of damage potential but does not really have an escape mechanism. Nunu is going to be able to be a support character that gives him a sort of escape mechanism. Not only will be able to give Kog'Maw Blood Boil to increase his attack speed and his movement speed to better position himself, but he's also going to be throwing down those Ice Blasts to slow down champions, giving Kog'Maw either a window of opportunity to run away or a window of opportunity just to go down and harass somebody with that Bio-Arcane Barrage on his W, shredding through a lot of percent of HP as magic damage on top of everything else. So Nunu and Kog'Maw, normally you'd be seeing Janna and Kog'Maw, more of a protect the Kog'Maw kind of composition. Nunu in the bottom lane, though, I kind of like him better because he lets Kog'Maw play a little more aggressive.
Yeah, and they won't have to worry about many ganks early, because Warwick is kind of a terrible ganker until he gets level 6, and then he becomes the most amazing ganker in the world. So, yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Warwick combined with Ahri's taunt is also going to be a real problem after level 6. Who do we have, actually, playing mid?
Looks like Nidalee.
Nidalee mid? If Nidalee's mid... that's probably not too bad. She can bounce away, but the problem is with the burst, it's really not going to help. She's going to have to play pretty far back and try to farm with spears or something once, because Warwick with flash just jumps on you, and then Ahri can't miss the taunt, and the burst that Ahri does is just absurd. So hopefully, for purple team's sake, Nidalee is running at least a little bit of MR in her setup.
Yeah, actually, if we take a quick look, we're going to be able to hit the view profile button. We only have a couple of seconds left on the spectator delay, but very quickly, if I'm able to hit the runes button over here, we can see that his middle page is running mana regen per level on the seals, magic penetration on the marks, magic resistance on the glyphs, though, in addition to 3 ability power quintessences. So she is running a little bit of magic resistance. That, combined with her heal, is going to be giving her a decent amount of sustain in the lane. But like you said, Ahri with that lot of burst, if Nidalee gets caught a little out of position, it's kind of going to wind up in a dead middle lane there. So Reinhardt, you might have the advantage this time if you choose not to tower dive.
Well, Ahri is really good for Reinhardt, because Ahri actually can tower dive very effectively with the ults. So she's got at least 2 ults to jump around in the tower before she has her last one to jump out, and he has flash. So he's really got a lot of free play to jump in and do a ton of damage. Especially if you can even Warwick all under the tower, it really doesn't matter. He's gonna have a lot of armor because he's jungling. So basically, wherever Nidalee is, she's probably gonna have a problem. It doesn't even matter if she's behind her own tower, honestly. So that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You know what isn't fun, though? When your League of Legends decides to load in the bottom right corner of your screen and not your entire screen. Like, sometimes it bugs out like that. So if you are actually watching the stream right now, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that I only really see Warwick and Riven, and then the rest of it's my desktop background. So once we fully get loaded in, I'm going to be able to just Alt F4 and reconnect. Last time I tried doing this was in the middle of a GG Classic match, and I went to Alt F4, and it didn't let me reconnect to the game. So that was kind of bad. I learned my lesson, though. So let the game load before you try reconnecting. That's usually what it does.
Oh, it's still a little buggy, huh? I've never used spectator mode. I've never had any problems, so I don't even know what you're talking about with the quarter of the screen load bug. I've never even heard of that one.
Man, if you are watching the stream in 90 seconds, you will see one of the silliest pictures in League of Legends history, which is the background of my Rain Man Baylife Obama poster, and then there's like an angry Riven and Warwick on fire in the bottom hand corner. It's kind of funny, but because of this, I actually don't know what the skins are. I don't know who's running anything right now, and I don't know who's taking forever to load. So feel free to interject and take over that.
Well, as far as skins go, we got Warwick rocking the fiery Warwick guy skin. I don't know what they're called. Janna's skin looks pretty impressive, and we're in the game, so I have no idea now.
All right, so this is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to Alt F4 League of Legends, and just so you guys don't think I'm lying, here's my desktop screen. And now I can hit the reconnect button. There we go. We should be loading in A-OK right now, but Badministrator, while this is still loading up, why don't you take a look around the map? Is anybody going for anything out of the ordinary while we're loading in?
Well, actually, no. We have what we have so far is the blue team is moving up towards their own blue buff. Sotir is coming across the river, and I have no idea why. She's actually run into Graves already. There's already a fight, and you're completely missing it.
That's fine. Keep going.
He's at about half health, and he ran away. So right now we got nothing going on. Ari's about to fight. Sotir's chasing Ari. Reinhardt got a taunt off, but nothing really came of it. And it looks like purple team intends to take the blue buff. The entire blue team is actually in the brush next to blue buff and is now attempting to engage.
And we are actually in the game, so keep going. Everybody can now see what your lovely radio voice was just discussing.
So basically, it looks like the purple team just does not want the blue team to have blue buff. And they're pushing them out. We have damage, so Tyr's going to go down. Wasabi jumps out, not exactly sure why, still at half health. We got an exhaust coming down on Jarvan. Warwick is in trouble. He has to flash the spear. He probably would not have died there. I'm not sure that was necessary, but a little bit cautious, I guess. Nidalee's spear does do more damage as you farther and farther away, so maybe he thought with only 150 health he would die.
I mean, this is very interesting. Not only just the level 1 jungle invade, now everybody actually has to go back kind of from the blue side, but I seem to be like 2 seconds ahead of you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Should I reconnect?
Yeah, try reconnecting just so we could kind of be on the same page with that one. But
okay.
This is interesting. This is why you've never used spectator mode before. But
right.
I'll take over a little bit while you start reloading into the game. It seems that we have DC Wasabi's Riven and Holy Spork's Jarvan going to be going at it in the top lane. It's actually a very interesting matchup. I'm going to have to see if Jarvan's little CC antics are going to be enough to dodge the jumping Riven and keep her at bay. We have already mentioned before the Nidalee and Ahri in the middle lane is going to be a very interesting matchup. For Ahri, Nidalee did start with that Doran's ring even, so she doesn't have boots of speed or anything to try to give her a little more mobility against the skill shot oriented but still lots of burst damage on the poking of Ahri. So that's a very interesting thing we see here on the bottom lane. Ponophobia's Graves, Pronovsky's Kog'Maw going to be going at it, trading blows back and forth. We have Nidoran on Nunu and Reckern on the Janna, just kind of doing what supports do. We already see a ward in the river for blue side, so very, very good map awareness. Thinking that Soter might be going for some early gank kind of composition. But you can see Soter is content just farming his jungle, starting with boots and 3 health potions, already burned through all 3 of them because of the jungle invade. He is going to be heading over to his golem camp, start clearing that out, although it's going to be very, very close because no, Soter's actually going to have to fall back here because he's getting dangerously low with these golems and not losing aggro on them, actually deciding to smite the little golem, having to get out of there as the big golem brings them down to 15 HP. So Soter not having all the luck in the jungle right there.
I have reconnected, and I think I'm even farther behind you now.
Even farther behind now?
Even farther. You are describing things that are happening in my very distant future.
Oh, man.
I'm going to try again. This is amazing.
Spectator mode fail. I am so sorry. I don't know what is going on with this stuff tonight, but maybe it has something to do with the fact that if you guys haven't been paying attention to the top left of your little League of Legends client, they are actually making it so mastery pages are now saved on their server. So if you change computers right now, you realize that you have all your runes, but you do not have your mastery pages. So there might be a little bit of a flux in the server. You know, maybe they didn't have enough flux capacitors or something like that for the little server swap. But you guys are going to have to remake your rune pages by the end of the evening, which might be a little bit of a hassle for you guys, so make sure you write them down. But could be the little bit of server bugs we're getting in the spectator mode tonight. I don't exactly know if that's going to be it or not, but I'm trying to make excuses for Riot, but there's no excuse for Wasabi being caught out of position here by his top tower. He's trying to get down on Holy Sport, but Soter has come in for the gank, and he is going to be dropping very low. Holy Sport barely living with the power of those health potions as Soter is able to pick up a kill onto DC Wasabi. So first blood does indeed go to Soter. He may have gotten very low fighting those golems, but he really sprung back after recalling to his fountain, pick up a nice kill on an overextended top lane. And if that Riven is going to be having that much of a dominating matchup against Jarvan, she's going to have to be very careful about how far she pushes in the lane, because Soter seems to be primed and ready to punish. Even though Shyvana doesn't have a hard CC out of the jungle like an Udyr, or someone else in the jungle may have like a level 6 Warwick, she is still going to be able to deal out lots and lots of damage, so she's going to be the one that's able to punish a lot of those people that like to overextend in lane.
Yeah, and you know, Jarvan with the overextension is especially bad because he has multiple CCs. His ult is kind of ridiculous, especially with Shyvana, who can actually jump into it after the fact, so is not walled out, which is pretty good combo, honestly. Keeps you in there, and they're both in there doing all the things that they do, the fun things. I'm actually not sure if Riven, I believe Riven can dash through Jarvan's ult though, so it might not be too effective until late game when they're using it on more other people. Actually, Ahri can as well, I think, so it's not going to be...
Ahri could definitely get out of that ultimate, and even if you were to accidentally trap, say, Nidalee or someone in there, she can also just kind of hop over the wall. Not sure about Riven, though, either. I know Riven has a hard time dashing over certain walls with that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Riven, you know what? Riven probably can't. I don't think that there's much terrain that Riven gets over with her dash.
I mean, if it does, that'd be news to both me and you, and that would, of course, be something that we'd be oohing and awing about when we do see it. So hopefully it does, because that'd make for some excitement. But how's your game loading over there, buddy?
My game is fine. You're going to have to do play-by-play because I am, of course, 10 seconds behind at all times.
All right, so I guess we're swapping it out. We're not going to have to be doing too much play-by-play until the next game, of course, because we are going to be doing multiple games of Battle Arena, as long as you want to stick around, bud.
I will stick around until I pass out around 3 a.m., so I'm sure that you'll want to stop before that. I can, however, talk about overall strategies, so we can do that since nothing's really going on. We do have... Warwick's basically in a hard farm to 6, it looks like. He has not stopped to do pretty much anything else. And he probably shouldn't. He's not going to be able to gank the lane with Nunu in it because he has the chain slow. Nidalee jumps away so quick. Jarvan with his EQ combo is ridiculous and impossible to gank as well. So until he has the lockdown from level 6, he's just going to be jungling. You saw Sotir go to the top with Shyvana and actually gank already, which was pretty effective. Actually, snowballing top is one of the best ways to win the game currently, because top kind of lives on an island. The thing about it is, though, is that Ahri, once she has mid kind of controlled and has the ability to push, she's one of the best at running around the map just because of her ult. She can jump walls. She's very LeBlanc-ish as far as her ability to roam and gank goes. So, and she'll probably look to do that if that she's not winning the mid lane. And it looks like right now she's actually behind a little bit on level and gold. So
She definitely
we get ganked top.
Yeah, she definitely is a little bit behind. We see Soter trying to go in for another gank on Wasabi on Riven up top. Not being super effective, but he is camping the bush, and Wasabi is keen to this. So Wasabi right now not farming up as much as he could be. On my screen currently, we see that he's only about 2 CS ahead of Jarvan, so any lead that she's going to be giving Jarvan by staying in the bush is a good one. Pings go down, and they do decide to try to go in on Wasabi. Jarvan, however, not able to land that knock-up combo between the E and Q, so Riven is going to be getting out of there okay. We see Ranher and Rupert 6, that Warwick, coming in from the middle lane, though, to get a gank. Soter pops the Dragon form, but not until after Warwick gets an infinite duress down. Demasia's Cataclysm goes down, trapping in everybody. Nidalee will actually pick up a kill on Warwick as she follows the lane from the middle, but they are going to wind up picking up a kill onto Soter. Riven is coming in, though, from the top and following down and picking up a kill onto Jarvan, and then Ranner actually sticking around, winds up snagging a double buff from Nidalee as he's able to pick up a kill with that Orb of Deception, and now we have basically a 19 HP Wasabi, a 40 HP Ranher, and no one else left alive in the top lane. So a very good 3-for-1 exchange up top, as Ranher looked like he was going to fall, Wasabi looked like he was going to fall, but everybody just kind of hanging on by the skin of their teeth in that little fight.
Ranher was very impressive with that fight. He waited to the absolute last possible second to jump out the original fight, and I would say that his timing on the jumping back in was even better. It's obviously easy to know when your health is low to go out, but he waited for the Riven stun, got the taunt, got the extra kill without getting ignited, which is actually pretty hard to do. Obviously, all you have to do is just hit the button; it's automatic. So that was not bad. I would say that one of the most frustrating things in the game is to have a team fight where you drop multiple people down to incredibly low health and don't kill either of them. But all that boils down to is people's ability to focus. And on a pickup game, focusing, solo queue, things like that, it's just really hard to focus on one champ in a team fight.
Yeah, it definitely is. We saw actually Ponophobia and Reckon going in for some counter jungling against Soter, stealing his big wolf, but then getting out of there as the Dragon Lady kind of came by to shoo him away. Shyvana looked like she's going for a gank on bottom lane with Ponophobia backing off. He doesn't have a support character. Nuna's going to get an Ice Blast down. Kaba not exactly in the position to pressure him, though. Soter, meanwhile, has gotten to the middle lane as Office Romeo is extremely, extremely low between this constant pressure between Warwick and Ahri, as Ahri with that double buff from that fight up top just really starting to gain grasp in her lane. She is still behind on farm from that Nidalee, but Nidalee right now is trying to last it against the tower. She's extremely far behind the tower, and Soter actually has an Oracle's Elixir, has to camp this middle lane now, not being able to do the kind of roaming around and pressuring every single lane like he wanted to, but ooh, Randall gets tagged by a very nicely placed spear from Nidalee. Now Reinhardt's the one's going to have to be played placid as Soter still in his lane. Warwick is coming up to try to help out here, but it looks like the jungle is just going to bounce off of each other like two brick walls, and middle lane is going to go back to its little farm fest as per usual.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun exchange. As you can see, Nidalee with her infinite sustain is kind of a jerk. They harassed her down to, I think, like 200 hit points, and she's already back up to full, mostly from the E heals and not so much from the potions, but the potions do help a little bit. You can see that Ahri was completely winning, and it's been totally turned around in about 5 seconds. With Shyvana having her ult up, nobody can really overextend on the blue team at this point. And the fact that she can jump over walls is pretty important. They have pretty good ward coverage, though, on the bot lane. Actually, blue team, their ward ran out, so they got nothing right now. That's going to be a little scary. I bet you Janna goes back really soon to grab some wards, but it doesn't look like Shyvana's actually going back down there anyway.
No, we can actually see, taking a look at Nidalee's items, she has actually grabbed a blue buff from Soter now. Needlessly large rod and Doran's ring, and this is 11.5 minutes into the game, so she's had that needlessly large rod since that first top engagement. Pegging Reinhardt with those spears, if Reinhardt's caught at maximum range because he keeps forcing Nidalee back away from where the creeps are to basically farm himself up, he gets pegged with a full range spear, he's going to melt down to basically one attack from that Nidalee. So even though he is the aggressor in the lane right now, he's going to have to be forced to go back because he's taken one too many spears from Nidalee's 127 ability power at this point. She's looking very, very dangerous despite having to play passively for the past couple minutes.
Yeah, well, Warwick, though, whenever his ult is up, it doesn't really matter how low Ahri is. Like, right there, in a high elo game, you might have seen somebody jump. If they had good coordination and good communication, you might have seen Warwick jump in and actually land infinite duress on Nidalee regardless of her health and Ahri's health, because AP Nidalee only really has the spear for damage and gets locked down really easily from Warwick's ult, and she doesn't have the burst to kill Ahri from a distance unless she can land that crazy spear, which is just not reliable, especially in a fight scenario where there's a lot of things occurring at one time.
But we see right here, speaking of coordination, DC Wasabi's Riven is coming down from the top lane. Infinite Duress from Warwick came down, and Ignite went off. Wasabi winds up picking up a kill on that Nidalee. I guess her heal is just not off cooldown in that chance, and even though, Ignite reduces healing by 50%, that 127 ability power is going to be adding a lot of heal onto Nidalee's E, but still not quite enough to tank through the double ultimate being popped by Riven and Warwick. And Ahri even came in there trying to look for a little cleanup duty, but unfortunately there's nothing to clean up because it already wound up dying.
Yep, and that right there is why you don't see a whole lot of AP Nidalee anymore, because you just get focused down really easily, and your damage back is just not really worth it. I mean, what you have to do is play kind of a tag and run sort of Nidalee, like Hotshot plays when they run like a kite comp, which it's really hard to do in a game like this where people don't have much focus.
Yeah, they wound up doing. Ooh, actually, we
watch bot lane, yeah.
Yeah, we missed something on the bottom lane here. So it looked like Graves wound up picking up a kill on a Nunu, who was a little too aggressive trying to pick up a kill. I don't exactly know what happened there because my focus was a little split between the dancing of Riven and Jarvan up top lane. But
I can tell you what happened because I was watching it. I just couldn't call it out because it was happening 10 seconds in the future, and I didn't want to be like describing what was happening 5 seconds late. So what happened was Janna ended up in good position behind and ulted Nunu back out of position, and he was basically from that point he had no chance.
He wound up being dead, but we see Soter coming in for positioning onto Ranher, getting a nice taunt down to the Soter, so the gank is a bit nullified. Soter still hasn't been taking out there with that Oracle's Elixir. He's continuing to run around and deny vision from the blue team. Taking a quick look, they have a ward at the Dragon Lair, and that's about it. Taking a look at the purple/red side, depends if you have colorblind mode right on. They have a little bit more of the river covered in their ward presence right now. So that early Oracle's Elixir from Soter, he isn't getting the dominance from ganks that he was early on as they picked up a kill onto Wasabi's Ribbon that we saw up top in the beginning of the game. But now he's just giving himself the ever-presence of he's going to be running around both jungles, he's going to be denying vision, he's going to be denying jungle, and it's just you never know where Shyvana's going to be at this point, and it's something that the blue team always going to have to keep in mind, and we might see them wind up playing a little bit more passively because of it.
Yep, it's definitely an issue, and she's obviously just going to continue clearing out wards. She can see Ahri right now.
Yep.
Little nobody wants to fight that. I really think that if Sotir would have went in on Ahri, she probably would end up winning that fight. Ahri probably would have ulted and jumped over Dragon Wall because she was surrounded on all sides. She had Nidalee above her. She had Sotir in the enemy jungle, and then Nunu and Kog'Maw could have easily come up. So. Unfortunately, with the pink ward, you can put it down, you can kill the ward, but you're just going to have your own pink ward killed. You've lost even more gold than the other team. Yep. As long as she has oracles, it's not a really good trade.
Ooh, we see Shyvana popping an ultimate, but Janna's immediately going to pop hers to knock themselves backwards. So Warwick, Graves, and Janna on the bottom are getting 4v3 to Shyvana and Nidalee have come in here. Lots of Kog'Maw ultimates and Nidalee spears going down. They do have a decent amount of poke on their composition. On top of, they're saying about the coordination, everything for these poke comps. They got a lot of poke, but they're not really having the coordination section here. They just didn't really have much coming in that one. A little bit of a wasted ultimate coming in from Soter as Janna's ultimate kind of negated it. They are just kind of playing back and forth poke. There was Ponophobia. I don't know if you learned this in school or not, but you're not supposed to catch spears at your face. Neither is Record, as they're just taking full distance Nidalee spears right now as they're trying to contest Dragon from the purple team, and it's not really going in their favor, so they may actually have to give up this positioning. Blue buff has respawned for the purple team, so Soter is probably going to donate this to Nidalee. I wouldn't be surprised to see them actually taking a Dragon attempt after this, now knowing that they pushed the blue team back.
Yeah, it would be a good idea. They obviously heard the spears hit, so they're probably going to go for Dragon right now, which they're doing. They know that there's no ward coverage. Well, they're not going to... Okay, on your screen, there's no ward coverage.
There is no ward coverage.
There is no ward coverage because the ward in the back of Dragon was killed. And honestly, right there, that fight was also because of oracles, because they were taking spears, and the reason they're taking spears is because that Tribrush is warded, and there's nothing that blue can do about it, whereas if they had a ward at Dragon where Nidalee was actually throwing spears, they would have seen them coming, but of course that was cleared out by Shyvana. So wards cannot really be, it can't be understated how important wards are, especially when trying to engage a fight and not getting hit by AP Nidalee spears.
Yeah, and even though there's no wards in the middle lane and Ranher can see where everything is, he continues taking wards, spears to the face. But here comes a flash ultimate coming out from Rupert Sick. Nidalee is going to be going to Cougar form afterwards, so they'll try to get out of here. Ranher pops an ultimate, although it's not going to avail too much. So Nidalee having like 2 or 3 ultimates burned on her, just going to be hopping back behind the tower, keeping herself safe. And now Reinhardt and Warwick ultimate list for the next couple seconds. 70 seconds on Warwick, 80 seconds on Ahri. So 2 burned ultimates to no avail, and I don't know, man. The blue team, they're losing vision, they're losing ultimates, and they're not exactly, they're still ahead in kills though, 6-2. They're ahead in gold count right now. They do have that top tower that Wasabi took down a little while ago from Holy Sport, but the coordination of the purple team, like you said, with the late game comp, with Kog'Maw, a little bit more oriented towards the poke, they just seem to have a little bit more communication right now, and even though they seem down right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see them coming back into this game. And as I say that, we see Soter is coming in here with a gang, popping the dragon form for Shyvana onto Ahri. She gets a nice charm off in tower range though, so Soter falls back, and I don't know, it's just a very passive game right now. Everyone's trying to make something happen, but nobody's really wanting to give or go on any of these fights right now.
Yep, and that's the main issue with the flash ultimate from Warwick, is that if you flash and then you ult, you're going very, very far in a very short amount of time, and your team, unless they're already in front of you, is just not going to be able to follow up. So probably not the best ult from Warwick, honestly. Ari probably should have tried to get a little bit closer before the ult occurred, or at least Riven. Riven could have chained the stun, and then Ari could have hit the taunt, and they would have killed Nidalee. Honestly, Nidalee was out of position there. They just didn't have the people to follow up, which if he would have waited like 3 seconds, I think they probably would have got that kill, honestly.
Definitely, and Nidalee didn't look like she was going back anytime soon, and now she's actually being pressured back against her turret as Warwick and Riven seem to be content sitting up camp in the the middle lane, as top lane has already gone down. Jarvan is kind of free farming up here. Bottom indeed. You're not that far behind me, Badministrators. We see Graves getting extremely low as he winds up coming down from Karma popping a flash. Karma does have the heal bait out though, and a Nunu ultimate is going to maybe seal the deal against Janna. No, but they do wind up picking up the kill on Ponophobia's Graves. Kog'Maw did get extremely low, but a very, very nice saving the heal to the utmost last minute, making Ponophobia try to fight for that kill, and then all of a sudden I have like 300 extra HP you didn't expect me to have. So very good job of baiting that one out and making Graves stay alive a little bit too long.
Yep, and part of the reason they can do that is because of the fight earlier right before Dragon. The cooldowns were still down from the other ADs, or from the enemy team. You see Ari coming down. This might be bad for the purple team.
I don't know, but speaking of bad for the blue team over here, we see 2 ultimates going down from Shyvana and Jarvan onto Warwick as he's trying to go down through his jungle by the blue buff on the outskirts there. Wanted getting picked up by a hard CC combination, and that was just not the place he wanted to be. Normally being stuck in an arena full of rocks from a Jarvan is not where you want to be, but he just didn't have the flash because he tried picking up that kill in the middle on Nidalee, and he didn't have it to escape the arena that time, and now the gold count for purple team ever so slightly approaching about 1k down as opposed to the 3k they were before those little engages in the bottom and middle lane. So 26k to 25.1k is Reinhardt trying to make a little difference, push a little more as they pick up a kill on the bottom lane tower. We see in the top lane though, Wasabi's content 3v1ing as he winds up picking up a kill on Soter. I did notice that something was going on up there, sorry about that. But Office Romeo and Holy Sport might be enough to take down Wasabi. A missed spear though makes Wasabi run away to live another day. So very nice job of 3v1ing. Riven's starting to hit that point in the game where if you're a really good Riven, you just are almost unkillable in certain situations, and that Bloodthirster right now, it's kind of making Wasabi unkillable.
Yeah, that fight, you know, honestly, Riven probably shouldn't have gotten away, but it was a good... getting the kill is important because Riven snowballs pretty hard, and they really need the damage on that team. The thing about it is the score is actually closer than it looks because Warwick has lost Oracles at least once, which means that's another 400 gold that's not going into items. So the blue team definitely wants to get the advantage early and push it because Kog'Maw is just going to get obscene. And with heals from AP Nidalee, Kog'Maw is going to be very difficult to burst down. And also earlier you saw Jarvan's ult comboed with Shyvana's ult. That's what I was talking about earlier when you see Jarvan. He can grab the entire enemy team, and then Shyvana can jump in, and they can just get completely destroyed. And that's going to help Kog'Maw a lot too, because obviously with Kog'Maw's ult, you have an area of effect for the ult to drop down, and if they're inside that Jarvan circle, if he shoots the middle, it's going to be pretty much the radius of the circle, so he's going to be able to hit everybody inside of it.
And that Kog'Maw is going to be a very, very good addition to this comp. As he said, there's a little bit of a different spin on like the protect the Kog'Maw comp. It's not really protecting Kog'Maw, it's more like setting Kog'Maw up to bring the apocalypse to the enemy team composition, as it seems to be. Because then you also have that Nunu ultimate, where if Nunu gets anywhere near that little Cataclysm arena, he's going to be slowing everybody down, so even if they somehow escape from that, they're not really going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
That is true.
We see Warwick taking a spear to the face. There's a little bit of a little engagement going on by Dragon, but Nunu a little too far out of the way. And Italy spear picks up a kill on Warwick first, but not until Wasabi goes in on Riven, pick up a kill on Nunu. Very nice Graves ultimate combined with Ari's burst is going to melt down Soter's on that Shyvana, but Reinhardt getting a little cocky. Very nice ultimate position, though, is going to be getting that Kog'Maw down very, very low, but like you said, AP Nidalee heals is too much to keep Kog'Maw alive. Kog'Maw's going to be able to get out of there. Focus is going to be turned onto Holy Spork's Jarvan as he's just kind of trying to get to the back off of Office Romeo and Pronovsky, so a little bit of an awkward engagement by Dragon winds up resulting in blue team picking up 2 kills. picking up a dragon here as we see them getting that down very low. And now purple team really doesn't have a response to this. Clairvoyance goes down. Nidalee Spear lands on Wasabi, bringing him to about half health. Holy Spork a little bit too far for his own good here. Is going to be trying to get away over this wall, but very nice key strike from Riven, and then the charm from Ari locking him down. So even though the flag was on the other side of the wall, the spear could not connect. And Jarvan wound up paying the price for just trying to run in there and see if he could do something around Dragon and be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate mistake. The purple team actually should not have initiated because it was 4v5, obviously. Jarvan only compounded that by attempting to do something or bring the game back after he was the only person left in the fight. So I think that his idea was probably to try to steal Dragon, but you're not going to really do that without Smite, and especially against 4 people with this much burst. So.
And even then, you would have effectively traded 3 kills for a dragon, and that starts to be in a little bit of a borderline of not worth it kind of territory. So, even though you kind of want to try to equalize your gold for your team, you don't also want to be feeding the enemy team free kills, because once you have someone else down on your side, that's going to open up the enemy team to do things like maybe counter jungle some of your buffs if they're up, potentially position themselves for a Baron or push a lane. And if you're leaving your team down a person and there are still people on that respawn timer, it's not really an effective trade. So not the best position for Jarvan to be in right there. He had good intentions, but not the best kind, as now the purple team down 10 kills to 5. They have fallen to that about 3.5k gold deficit that we saw them at a little bit earlier. 2 towers have gone down for the blue team as opposed to none for the purple side. So blue team starting to regain that kind of control we saw in the game and starting to get their coordination together, as we saw Riven Stun and Ari Charm really being the demise of Jarvan there. So team communication keeps up, they could really just kind of run away with the game they've had control of for the most part of the entire game.
Yep, and it'll be a good time for purple team to push now, because Kog'Maw and Nunu actually just forced Graves to flash heal away with probably like 20 health. So without Graves having flash, they can jump on him with Jarvan, and he does have the E, but he's going to have to use that to get away from Nunu if he gets hit with an ice ball. So basically just the constant CC without having flash is going to be a real problem for blue for the next 4 minutes.
It's going to be very interesting. We actually see up here that Jarvan has opted to go for a Wit's End. Now going to be going into what seems to be a Randuin's only, because he has picked up that Warden's Mail. I don't normally see a lot of Jarvans playing in the top lane. Normally I've seen them in the jungle, but I also don't see them a lot of the time getting a Wit's End. So how do you feel about that build?
Jarvan's trying to build tanky, so that's pretty much your standard top lane tanky DPS like hybrid tank build. You'd see that kind of build on like Warwick or anybody who wants to build a lot of gold early but expects to win late game. So he is basically doing we're going to push it to late game, I'm going to get some gold items.
Ooh, I got to interrupt down here though, because a couple seconds in the future, this Shyvana is getting extremely low against DC Wasabi's Riven, popping an ultimate. Nice Cataclysm over the wall from Jarvan though, is going to wind up saving her. She is sticking around a little bit too long around this tower. DC Wasabi's Riven has picked up a Guardian Angel, so he's not going to be super afraid to tower dive, especially if it's going to wind up netting him 1 or more kills. We see here that Warwick is now coming in as about basically a 5v4, putting down an ultimate down, but Ari's going to be picking up a kill on Kog'Maw, coming in from the side. My computer for some reason is now lagging, so I was a little bit behind there in the updates for the battle, but Riven is going to be going down on Nunu, picking up a kill. Jarvan tries to go back in to get something down onto that Warwick and Janna. Nice John ultimate saves him, but Nidalee Spear from outside the base winds up picking up a kill on Janna, and unfortunately, even though you channel that Janna ultimate and it does a lot of help, it also makes you stand in place, and Nidalee picks up a kill. Riven is going to continue diving into the base though, pick up a kill on Jarvan. Ranher, you like tower diving, but you don't have a Guardian Angel, so when Riven went down, everybody focused out on Ranher, and Nidalee picked up a kill there. DC Wasabi, you're extremely low. No more Guardian Angel, but he still dies, picks up a kill on Shyvana, and barely getting out of there with 50 HP as Ponophobia mops up a tower. So, ooh, almost getting dangerously close to dead from another Nidalee Spear. So much action going on in that top lane. Nidalee now has a Void Staff. She's going to be hitting like a truck with those spears if you decide to try to play catch with her. DC Wasabi's Riven just refusing to die twice. He did die, but proc the Guardian Angel, so just so much tankiness, not even tankiness, but just so much resilience coming out of that Riven build with those Bloodthirsters and Guardian Angel. She's just hopping around the fight, doing everything that she can, and even though Jarvan's trying to build tanky, he just doesn't have a lot of damage to help anybody right now. On top of the fact that Soter is kind of building tanky, he has a Fade, he has makings of a Vampiric Scepter, he has a Heart of Gold, no real Wriggles Lantern or anything on him either, so story of the purple team right here, aside from Nidalee's ability power and Kog'Maw, who has an Infinity Edge and a Zeal, they don't have too much damage coming out of their top laner and the jungler right now.
Yep, that's this is your Protect Kog'Maw comp. So you have AP Nidalee who's doing heals, and you have Jarvan, and you have a tank line with Jarvan and Shyvana. So if they get a good initiation, the initiation they want, they slow anybody coming toward Kog'Maw. They grab people with Cataclysm. Shyvana knocks everybody back. They want to chain CC and just let Kog'Maw knock everyone down.
Unfortunately, Kog'Maw was the first to fall in that fight as he kind of lagged behind everybody else, and Ahri doing a very nice job of poking him down over a wall, getting a charm down on him. Orbs of Deception and Foxfires all over the place, and Kog'Maw, not exactly the tankiest of champions, melted underneath the power of the Nine-Tailed Fox in that engagement. Now it looks like they're playing Ring Around the Ribbon right here as everybody's kind of chasing DC Wasabi around the enemy red buff, and he's going to be getting stuns down on Jarvan. A Cataclysm goes out to catch him in place, but he's caught Kog'Maw in there with him. Kog'Maw getting extremely low as Wasabi's going to be picking up a kill. He is now legendary. Reckon comes in the very nice ultimate to disposition the enemy team. Reinhardt now falling down, picks up a kill onto that Nunu. Riven is still going. She's like the Energizer Bunny right now. Reinhardt popping the last of his ultimate after the fact that there's a fight going on in the middle part, going over the wall to the base, picks up a kill onto Spork's Jarvan. They are now pinging Soter. Soter standing on top of a ward, thinking that he's safe to try to catch someone out of position. He's getting collapsed upon by Warwick, Janna, and Graves, having to pop the ultimate into Reinhardt, who unfortunately misses the taunt, but now Warwick is popping the Infinite Duress. That was still up from that entire fight. 5 versus 1 right now, and I don't care if you are a dragon or not. I've learned from Skyrim that dragons do die if there's a lot of things hitting them. So Soter did not make it out of that one alive. Nice pokes from this AP Nidalee still going down, but that is a effective 3 for none, as now it prompts the blue team to go and take a Baron attempt with only Nidalee to really steal it. Even though I say only Nidalee, those ability power spheres, if they have a ward over here by Baron, it could be enough to really get him down low enough and poking down with the spear, but she's just throwing spears and missing champions right now, and unfortunately they're going to see that that ward does get taken out. Baron is going to get taken out by the blue team, and now 18-7 with about a oh, wow, they have more than the 5k gold advantage. It's more like an 8k gold advantage at this point. 3 towers in their favor. Things are looking up for the blue team right now.
Yep, the advantage is pretty big. They could still come back, though. With Kog'Maw late game, as soon as Kog'Maw is built up, as soon as he has a Phantom Dancer, really, if they can build a tank line and stay alive long enough for him to knock a couple of people down, you're probably still going to see Red put up a fight. Right there, that was pretty good by blue team. They surrounded Baron to block spears. Wow, it looks like Graves disconnected.
Yeah, Graves actually disconnecting, and the red team, being good guys that they are, just back off of him and let him walk away. Good guy, purple team.
So that's a good strat if you're in custom games with nice people and you get caught. You just pull the Ethernet cord out of the back of your computer and pretend you disconnected. So Tyr probably could have used that above Baron. Just standing on that ward, everybody's coming, just pull that thing out, start running back to base.
pretend that you've disconnected and that the lords of the internet do hate you. So the Ponophobia is going to live. Soter did not, and I'm actually kind of surprised that Ponophobia is going to be pulling the plug while his own very idol is casting the game that he's in.
Well, yeah, maybe he has a second computer that he can listen to me on. But he's probably getting annoyed because I'm 10 seconds behind the cast and he wants to hear me do the play-by-play. So
listen, next time we'll have me restart the client and you won't, and you'll have to work the camera and everything.
No, I think you're doing fine. Man, yeah. While they it looks like they're still pushing even without a 5th player, which they can probably do right now, being up as much as they are. The best thing about the score for the blue team is that not only do they have a lot of kills and they're head-on kills, but they have most of their kills on 2 champions. They have 8 kills on Riven, they have 7 kills on Ahri, and when you're playing League of Legends, the best thing you can do is stack all of your kills on 1 or 2 champions, because that means that person, if not caught, will just kill every single person on the other team one by one, nobody can stop. Like, there's no tanking somebody with 8 kills at this point in the game. It doesn't even matter that it's 30 minutes in. You're not going to tank Riven with a Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, GA, all these things. And the same goes for Ahri. Ahri has enough burst damage now to take out pretty much anybody who doesn't have, I would say, at least like 150 magic resist, which at this point looks like very few people are going to have. Yeah, Jarvan built a Negatron, and Shyvana does have an Aegis, so he might be able to live. But the problem is if she hits the taunt, the whole team descends, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and it looks like they are continuing to push his advantage. Opponentphobia has reconnected. Baron buff is still up for a little bit longer. They're pushing down the middle lane, taking that second tower in the middle lane now, trying to apply some pressure into the base. Baron buff is about 3/4 over on my screen, so that means they still have about a little less than a minute left on it, so they're going to be trying to push onto this tower, but now to stand off as a 5v5. This is one thing that purple team does have over the blue team right now, and that is a lot of poke to keep them off that tower. Nidalee spears, Kog'Maw pokes. Ooh, Graves dashing in, trying to start the fight there. He's going to be able to flash out of there. That prompts Sisu Wasabi's Riven to go in. Reinhardt pops an ultimate. Janna ultimate goes off to disrupt that Nunu as Wasabi collapses down, picking up a kill. Nidalee will pick up that RA. Demacia ultimate goes down as Cataclysm forms up. Warwick will pick up a kill on Shyvana. Riven is going to finally get her way down through to Kog'Maw, all the way down by the Nexus turrets, and pick up a kill on him. It has currently been a 3-for-1 in favor of the blue team. Ahri being the only casualty, as she was the squishiest champion that was running in a little bit too far after that Kog'Maw. Riven did clean up her little mess in the back of the base, though, as now it looks like they're just going to continue pushing down with their advantage onto these Nexus turrets. Jarvan going to melt down that Janna, though, with a very nice EQ combo, and now all of a sudden the blue team starts rethinking their strategy of pushing everything down, as he actually timed that combo onto Janna at the second that Baron buff wore off. So Janna had Baron buff, she might have lived, but because she didn't, Jarvan kind of just melted her down. So they do want to take their victory at the inhibitor. They took down one Nexus turret, and they are just going to back off and try to farm up some lanes, trying to farm up the jungle, taking every advantage that they can get. This dragon doesn't look to be here, or was recently taken down by this Warwick. I didn't exactly see that one, but still, they're just going to wind up going back. They have the advantage. They're going to play it safe, try to farm up their buffs. Their blue buff is up. Their red buff is up. The enemy jungle is now barren as they walked back, and we see Riven cleaning up the last of the small golems up top. The only thing that's really left on their side are Wraiths and Wolves, so very, very nice plays by the blue team right now. They're playing it safe, playing it smart, going to buy up, and probably go for kind of one last team fight kind of push when purple team gets out of position, or maybe when Baron respawns in about, 3 minutes or so. And we're going to see that come back up, and that could just be a point of contention to really end the game at this point.
Yeah, we'll have another Baron in about 2 minutes. Basically, the problem for purple team right there was that was probably the best initiation they're going to get. They got a dive with Graves having to go out of position and then immediately waste his flash. So he was kind of a non-factor for the first 5 seconds of the fight. And they still lost pretty bad. Unfortunately, Kog'Maw at this point in the game with only 1 kill at 35 minutes, regardless of his items, is just too far behind to stand in without any lifesteal. He's just not going to stand in with a 10-kill Riven and a 7-kill Ahri.
I don't know about you here, but Ponophobia thinks he's Rambo right now. He might be throwing the game for blue team as he walks into 5 of them at the enemy blue buff and feeds another kill to that Kog'Maw. So now Kog'Maw's got 2 kills under his belt. He is still only 2 and 3, though. He has superior farm to that Graves, but still, if that Kog'Maw starts picking up a couple more kills, he's going to be buying the complete items for his item build, and that's going to be one scary Kog'Maw that no one wants to mess with. But right now, the blue team is at a deficit. They are at a 4 versus 5 no matter what happens right now, so they're not going to be able to clear out the enemy jungle. To see here that Jarvan is going to be propping up a red buff, going to be giving that one to Kog'Maw. And right now, you know, the purple team's in position to kind of just, you know, group up as 5 and continue to fall down on wherever the blue team's 4 continues to go. And 4 versus 5, you know, those numbers kind of stack up in the 5's favor no matter how you're going to twist it right now, especially with all that poke. But we see them giving up a blue buff to the blue team. They really can't do too much about this. Minions are pushing down on their Nexus turret, though, as we see Jarvan has to go back and try to defend against the super minions railing down on a Nexus turret. So that is going to prompt the blue team to go down here and take the second bottom turret and continue pushing a little bit of an advantage. Ponophobia has respawned, so purple team hasn't been able to act on the fact that they had a 5v4 for the time being, but still, that has kept blue team from pushing down and going for the throat, as to say, against the purple team.
Yeah, Ponophobia is claiming lag in that, which I kind of believe because he disconnected earlier and he kind of just walked into 5 people. I don't know why he would have right-clicked there to begin with, though. You do have to click the spot to lag into the spot, so Maybe the ward didn't have sight when he clicked it from across the map and just kind of lagged for 30 seconds or something insane like that.
I don't know, maybe you could claim against the lag demons. They clicked the random spot on the map and made him do it.
Unfortunately for Kog'Maw, he did get that kill, but all he got out of it was a pickaxe, and that's just not going to do it at this point. They're going to need to catch somebody to have a chance to win a fight. Riven can probably take 2 to 3 people by herself. Actually, she just got hit with a spear pretty badly, so they don't have too much sustain.
No, they do not. She's actually going to be able to just life leech up off of that minion wave, though. As you see.
She does have Bloodthirster, yeah.
She's got a Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, Maw of the Malmortis, so she's actually building up against those Nidalee Spears right now. And she's going to be welcoming 1 or 2 Nidalee Spears to the face. That's just going to be ever increasing the amount of damage she's going to be dealing too. Baron has respawned. We see immediately the blue team goes for it. Nidalee Spears going out. There is a ward down here for the red/purple team. Kog'Maw's poking down onto Reckron is in a bush. Blue team takes the Baron attempt. Soter goes in with Dragon Form. He's getting melted extremely low. Janna ultimate for repositioning, but Nidalee's going to melt down Janna, but not before Graves can melt down Soter. A Cataclysm goes off, but Riven kind of flashing over the wall. She's going to be caught out of position, though, as she is getting melted down by the entire team. Graves will pick up a kill on Nidalee. Double kill as he picked up a kill on Nunu. Riven getting popped out of the Guardian Angel. There's a kill on Jarvan, a kill on Kog'Maw, and even though they focused down Riven and she died, she had a Guardian Angel, Badministrator. Guardian Angel means Graves and Ahri mop up the rest of the fight. It is a 5-for-1, and now it looks like the blue team, the inhibitor respawned right in front of them, so they're going to take a second to peel that one. But now, just no one to contest this straight push down the middle. I think we can call a good game at this point.
Yep, the game pretty much hinged on the Blues' ability to win before Kog'Maw got crazy, and they had a huge lead and took the Barons and just pushed them down. So it was really well played.
I got a GG button. I like hitting it.
I heard that in the background. That was pretty amazing. It sounded like Hat Person.
Oh, a little bit, yeah, but I don't know.
He likes to scream GG when
he
the
does
game
like
ends.
he does like screaming GG. He also likes screaming what when people dive down on the towers. So very nice game because he was just a really quick recap on the score screen right here. The gold counts kind of just say everything, as everybody on the blue side had above 12,000 gold, basically. Warwick was the lowest with 11.9k, so maybe he needs to make better future investments, just kind of saving up his gold a little bit more. But even so, that John at 10.7k, 16.3k on DC Wasabi's Riven, and unfortunately for the purple team, Jarvan was the closest person they had to a farmed monster at 10.9k gold. They tried to go for this composition around Kog'Maw, try to give him as much CC as possible to protect everybody, but it just didn't wind up being enough damage because that Kog'Maw didn't get the kills, like you mentioned. No kills early on means Kog'Maw's not going to be fed enough no matter how much more farm he has over that Graves, because Riven and Ahri wound up getting 8 and 11 kills apiece. They're just farming up not only minions but kills and getting every single item they needed to combat against this composition. And if Kog'Maw's the only one dealing damage on your comp and there are 2 or 3 other people that can just go straight for Kog'Maw and just really take him out of the fight before it even starts, that's going to be no damage for your team composition at all, and it's not going to work out for you.
Yep. With the top lane champion, there's a certain point at which if you're the only person who's fed, you need to change up your build to do damage, because what you saw at the end was a chance for purple or red to at least extend the game by Riven jumping over the wall, and if they would have had enough damage to kill her, they might have been able to kill her, or at least take the GA down and then get out of there. Unfortunately, like I was saying, Riven can do a 3v1 at that point because no one has any damage, or not enough people have enough damage to kill her quickly enough, so even if her team has to run all the way around Baron, they still get there in time. So Jarvan, being a top lane champion, has to realize at some point during the game that he's the only person who's getting kills, and start building at least a few damage items, because honestly, it really doesn't help to live forever if your entire team is dead around you anyway. They're eventually going to kill you. There's no getting around it. So yeah, you can't really tank for no one. That's one of the reasons people don't like to play tank with teammates who they don't trust, and it's true. I mean, honestly, you can play tank, you can build all the right items, you can do the best that you can. You can land really good ults, and somebody has to follow up with damage, or else it doesn't do much at all. Unfortunately, Jarvan actually had a couple pretty bad ults. He had an ult near red buff where he grabbed Kog'Maw in the ult with Riven. He probably should have immediately let that one go. Unfortunately, it was up the whole time. It just contributed to Riven getting more fed. That was one of the turning points, I would say, in the game.
Yeah, it definitely was. But we are going to be going into game number 2 very soon. This is Optimus Battle Arena, casting with Badministrator. How'd you like your first cast, buddy?
It was pretty awful.